Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Hannah.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is the You Talking to Me podcast. We have a new month, so it's a new theme. And this is our birthday month. I say our because, yes, we are both born in September. We are both those wild Virgos.
Hell yeah. And we're actually born very close to each other, like in
4 days apart. Yeah, four days apart. So mine's the 9th and hers is the 13th.
Yeah, so this week is kind of Hannah's birthday week movie. And we kind of had a weird theme for this. So the first week, we picked something where there's either a main character or the show has Hannah's name in it. The second week, we'll have a character or a show with my name in it. And then the next week will be one of Hannah's favorite shows, and then one of my favorite shows the following week. So that's kind of how we're doing it. And the bonus podcast is on our Instagram, so you can figure out that theme there. So that is kind of what we're doing. So that means today we are reviewing episode 1 of the show Hanna on Amazon Prime.
It's spelled wrong, but that's okay. We'll still use it. So, Hanna is an Amazon Prime original series. In episode 1, we learn who Hanna is and how she came to be the person she is. Hanna was stolen as a baby and is raised by her father, who puts her through rigorous training and teaches Hanna that people are bad. Hanna decided to venture out of the woods one day and meets a boy. Meeting the boy leads to getting in trouble with the police. At the end of episode 1, Hanna and her dad leave their home in the woods when they hear helicopters coming to find them. Hanna makes a decision that will change the course of her life.
As you know, we will be giving you spoilers just for this episode, though. I'm not giving spoilers for any of the rest of the series because I think it's a show I've watched all of and Hannah hasn't seen any of yet. Well, she saw the first episode, but...
Yes, I did see the first episode, and I will not be watching anymore, so...
Unless the fans ask for it, Hannah.
Yeah, I don't think that it's a bad show. It's just not for me. It is kind of gory, and the one thing I noticed that I don't like is it's very dark in the sense of it's literally dark. If you're in a well-lit place, you can't see what's happening because it's dark.
Yeah, and it is gory, and I guess I didn't realize a whole lot of that because the most recent season I watched isn't super gory. And so there's 2 seasons out right now on Amazon Prime. And I literally just finished the second one probably 2 months ago, even though it's been out for a long time. But I found this show because when I was at a movie theater, it was showing on the screen, the main character training for this, because she's in the show, she's a teenage girl, but she's probably early 20s or whatever in real life, I'm guessing. And she has to be super strong and stuff to actually do some of the stuff because she does a lot of her stunts. And it was just so cool. I was like, okay, this is a badass chick. I need to see this show. It's totally not anything I would watch. I'm young adult central, give me that. I need some teen romance. I need some drama. But this is action adventure, guns and fighting and stuff, which is just not me normally. But I think I was just so intrigued by the training and stuff. It literally was a commercial at a movie theater that I went to, and I was like, well, I have to watch it now.
That's very interesting that you saw it at a commercial at a movie theater. And speaking of movie theater, I did have a listener ask me personally if we would ever be going to a movie theater to watch a movie and do a podcast about the movie at the movie theater. It'd be hilarious if we found an empty movie theater and we podcasted from inside the movie while we were watching it.
Just a surprise Instagram live video. That'd be super funny. The thing is that Hannah and I don't live in the same place. So we would have to be at two separate empty movie theaters, which would be pretty funny if we found a movie that literally no one wanted to see. But right now it's kind of hard to do that because people want to see almost any movie that comes out because it's been so long since people have seen movies. And if we go into another lockdown, it's going to be even harder again. But supposedly you can rent a movie theater for $100 for one movie. So if y'all want to donate, I'm not going to say no. Not going to say no. So we will if you do that. I'll rent a movie theater.
That'd be so amazing. I guess we need to break down this show. So obviously, yes, we watched it because it has the same name as I was given, not actually at birth, but a day later. I was nameless for 24 hours.
That's hilarious. Tell me more. Why?
My mom was going to name me Hannah. Apparently, I came to my mom in a dream and said, "Do not name me Hannah." And then she was like, and then I don't know if when they saw me, they thought I didn't look like a Hannah or something. All I know is then the story that I've been told since I was born was that the doctors told my mom and probably my dad, "You don't need to name her. We already named her. She's the feisty one." And I would say I've been feisty since day one. That is my personality, but it's good to have a name that's not feisty.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Also, I can't believe she still named you Hannah after you literally were like, no, don't name me Hannah or else. Like, like gonna murder you in her dream.
As far as I know, I could be wrong. I feel my parents are correcting me right here when they listen to this. I could be wrong, sorry. But I think the other option for my name, which was like the second choice, was Glenna. I know. I know. I know. It was my grandma's maiden name or something. But I was like, honestly, like now thinking about it, could you not see me if that was my name? I would definitely be a Glenn. Like, there's no way I'd be going by Glenna. I would be a Glenn.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious though. I love that. I think I was always going to be called Rachel, but if I was a boy, I was going to be named Patrick. So, not terrible. I don't know any Patricks in my life, so that would have been fun to like be the only Patrick around in like my high school and stuff, but I don't know. I'm kind of glad that that's not it. My sister says her name's Emily, and apparently there's a couple of stories here. Sorry, this isn't about Hannah the show at all yet, so deal with it. It's our podcast, not yours. No. We she was apparently my grandma didn't want Emily to be named Emily because my grandma knew someone named Emily and she was apparently like a bitch and really mean. And I was like, that's a valid reason. But like, my mom really liked the name. She's like, not every Emily's going to be the same, which is true. I mean, Emily's still a bitch. No, I'm just kidding, Emily. But she really wanted to name her this. Like, if it was my personal life and I knew someone named something and then I had a child, I would never name them that name. But yeah, that's just really funny to me. But then also, apparently, this is just through the grapevine. Her other possible name for a kid, for a girl, was like Bobby Joe. But like Rachel and then Bobby Joe? Where are you from? The middle of nowhere? Like, we were not like a country family or anything. Like, that just sounds like it's like someone in the 60s was named this. I don't know. It's a bad name. I'm glad Emily was not named that. She also hates her name because it's so common. And I think she wishes that her like middle name and first name were switched or that she just had a different name in general. But she does not like the name Emily.
Bobby Joe makes me think of Billy Joel, so it's probably good that your sister wasn't named that.
So there's our little name talk. Going to the show, Hannah, what did you specifically not like about it? Like, what were some of the things where you're like, I'm not going to watch this?
Well, quite honestly, I thought the acting was bad. And apparently these people that are in here have won, like I saw all these facts about many awards that have been won by a different actors in this series, and I was like, I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. And I don't know if they were acting that way because that's how they were supposed to be acting or what, but I did not like the way the acting was happening. I thought all of the acting all around was not good.
Interesting. I don't think I ever even really noticed. I don't mind the dad's acting, I think, was my favorite out of them, but I know I could see it because Hannah's like really weird in the show. She's like the guy asks her a question, she just like stares at him like which was super weird. And I understand like she didn't want to give him information or whatever, but she was like super she hasn't really interacted with any other people though, just her father. She literally has never seen another human before. And I think that attributes to it. So I don't know. I feel like their acting gets better. Marissa Viegler's acting, I would not say gets better throughout the series though. Because she's like very well known, like throughout it, through like flashbacks and like throughout the show and stuff. And I would say that she does not get better. Her like smile like freaks me out. Like it always looks like she's faking it.
That's how I felt about all the acting. They were faking it, which quite literally is what acting is. You're faking it, but I feel like a lot of times people get so engulfed in their character that it becomes real. And all the acting, I just didn't believe for 1 second. Like I was like, I don't believe this. I really don't believe this. I felt like the 50-ish minute episode went on for hours. I kept looking to see if there was a button to speed it up. I thought that the story was interesting. I thought that the depiction of the story was piss poor.
I am so shocked. I don't know why. I think I watched the second episode just because I wanted to know where it was going. So I think they set up a lot of stuff really interestingly. So after Hannah, like, okay, it shows at the very beginning, uh, Eric Heller, the main guy, sneaking into this facility. It looks like a hospital, but there like are dogs in there and like it's weird. I don't know. It like feels like a hospital though. He sneaks in, steals some guy's like badge and outfit, and steals Hannah from the room with all the babies in it. And he has to like kill these guards and stuff, and he escapes into the woods with the mom, and they're like being tracked by helicopter, and they almost make it, except the car like crashes after being like hit or something, or he was trying to avoid being hit by shots, and it crashes and the mom dies. And so Eric and Hannah have to like sprint into the woods, but they don't know that they're alive at that moment because the car blows up. So the people tracking them think that they've died, but obviously when they only pulled out one body later, they obviously knew that they escaped at some point. So they've been living in the woods for like 15 years. And the interesting part is that the first time we see Hannah now, she's like sprinting down and like killing a deer, and she's like gutting it or whatever. And Eric is behind her, and she like attacks him, but you don't really know it's Eric. You don't really know it's Hannah. Like you can probably assume, but they like are like fighting, like real fighting, and she like chokes him out, and you think he's dead for like half a second, and then he like is like, all right, that was pretty good, but I would have already killed you, so you'd have been dead. And that was like interesting. And so you realize he's been training her, and they get back to the house, which is just a cave, and he like starts quizzing her how to say something. She says it in English, then he says, okay, now say it in German, and she does. Now say it in French. Now name 3 American movies, and what's this town? And she like knows the population. Which, how does he know the population? It's been 15 years.
I don't know. I was wondering that, and like when they got there, like, so I mean, this flashes forward to when they're leaving, but when they're leaving the cave at the end, they have these backpacks. So then I was thinking, like, right away, did he just still have money when they were gonna go into hiding, and he went and bought stuff immediately from a town? But then if he was like supposed to be in high, like, I wanted to know where the bags came from. How does he keep up to date with his information? Because they ain't getting the newspaper out in the middle of these friggin'
Yeah.
woods.
Well, and
I
they
don't
kind of
know.
talk about, so we're going to skip ahead. They're escaping and they have to split up at some point because they'll be able to catch him a lot easier with two people. And he's like, okay, now what if, we get separated and don't meet back up? And she's like, I'll go to this address in Germany, or I'll send a postcard to this address, and then I'll go to this place every day at noon. And if people ask, I go to this school and blah, 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 I have a dog. And like, she has all these like facts and they're funny and like, whatever, like, oh, the dog shits in the yard. Like, oh, that's funny. Like, whatever.
On the carpet.
Oh, on the carpet. And it's like interesting. So they have facts. And so I feel like he knows people outside that maybe he's allowed to go. So there's these red barriers, like she's only allowed to go in this certain area of the forest that if he calls, like she can hear him, basically, I think is like as far as she can go. So I wonder if he's allowed to go past the barriers or like has like people that can get him stuff, because I feel like you can't make a backpack. You can't make those clothes you're wearing. Some of them you can, but she's wearing like a real shirt with like designs, like little like hearts or stars or something on it. It's like a real shirt. Like she does have this really cool sweater looking, like poncho looking thing, which I really liked. So I could believe they make some of this stuff, but they have to be getting outside resources somehow. There's no way he knows exactly how big she's going to be or how long they're going to be in the woods. He says forever, but obviously that's not true because they literally escaped today, which honestly was Hannah's fault. Like, that was really stupid of her, but she's also a teenager.
Yeah, and so there's obviously somehow that he's getting outside information, and maybe it is that someone's just bringing stuff into the woods, but then why are they helping them, and why is there that address that she could go to? Like, I am curious about the storyline, but like I said, I thought the story was interesting. I just didn't think the acting was good, and maybe it does get better in the future episodes. I don't know, and maybe sometime I will be feeling like I want to watch it, but where it left off, it didn't really leave me like, yep, I need to watch episode 2. Um, but so then they're in this cave and he's been asking her all these questions, and then you see some training she does where he's like putting all these rocks in her bag, and she has to go running and running and running, and then she's punching a tree, punching a tree, punching a tree, and there was one other push-ups. They're doing push-ups together, push-ups, 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 and it's this sequence of just like back to back to back, the running, the punching, the push-ups, running, punching,
And she's
push-ups.
also learning to shoot.
Yeah, and then it kind of skips to her wandering around in the forest, and then she goes past the point, and then she sees someone, and it's this guy who ends up being the son of a logger, and he kind of helps his dad, and she goes to talk to him. His name's like Arlo or Arvin or something.
It's Arvo.
Arvo. Um, and he gives her a Snickers bar, and I don't know, like their interaction was weird, but I actually thought that that was the best acting, was that scene. Obviously it's really weird, but how else would you expect someone to act if you haven't ever met other people besides the person you've been living with? um so I thought she was kind of bold for doing what she did, because I think I would be terrified, but who knows, I can't put myself in that situation. I have met lots of people in my life, but and then she goes back, and then her dad's like trying to give her food, and she's like, I'm not hungry. And he's like, why aren't you hungry? And she's like she just avoids it. And he's like, why didn't you come when I called? And she's like, I was out hunting. And she has one rabbit. And he's like, you were not out hunting like normal. Like, it's one rabbit. Normally you get more. And then eventually she decides that she wants to go back to see Arvo again. And that time they climb up into a satellite, and the police come. Dun dun dun. And when they come, he stands how you should, and like, oh, I don't have a weapon, blah blah blah. But she runs, and when she runs, that makes it be known, I guess, to the CIA that something's fishy, and the fact that she went back into the forest. They remembered this case from 15 years ago where a man and a baby escaped into the woods and they were never found.
It's a little
So,
fishy. Like, you remember. I mean, I guess it makes a little bit sense, but why would they obviously have people in every level of the police system, I'm guessing, and someone was like, I'm gonna tip off Marissa Viegler, but it's like, why would they it's so close to where they were last seen, but it's like, why would they assume to tell the CIA about this chick who's living in the woods with her dad? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like too easy. There should be something else where something had to happen where is like more of a reason why that happened because I mean, it could have been a different girl and maybe she just ran into the forest, because she didn't want to get caught by the police and that would be a good place to go because there's a billion trees and places to hide. So why did they assume that, oh, this must be Hannah or the
Yeah,
baby,
I mean, he
whatever?
said she lived in the woods with her father, so like he was giving information about her. Like they obviously questioned Arvo about it, and she did give him that much information. Luckily, she never told him her name, and I don't know if that would have mattered because I don't know if Hannah's name is Hannah, like at the hospital or whatever. I don't know if he gave her that name because the mom's name was Joanna, so I don't know if he just named her after her, but I don't know if that would have made a difference, you know? Because if I stole a baby and her name was Hannah, I would have changed the name.
Yeah, me too. But then when we're at the end and this escape is happening, Hannah hears the helicopters first. She's like, Dad, we're surrounded by 3 machines. He's like, I don't hear anything. And then you can hear the helicopters coming in. And then they're talking about like how they split up and blah, 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 blah. And then um she takes down one of the guards or people, whatever, whoever the people are that are coming and attacking with the guns. And she takes his walkie talkie. She hears that on the walkie talkie, one of the guys has targeted the dad and is going to kill him. And then she whispers into the walkie talkie, she's like, help me. And then so he misses his mark and he's like, oh shit, like he doesn't see where the guy went. Then she just sets herself under a tree and is like shivering and whatever, which I thought they could have done this part differently, which maybe it would have ended the story. But I thought where it was going to go was that because then you hear the guards or whatever they are saying, let's go find the walkie talkie. Like, this is where it's at. Okay, why didn't she just leave it and go running? Okay, but instead she takes it and goes hides under the tree. And then when they come up to her, they're like, are you okay? And she's like, he left me. He said I'm too slow or something like that. And I was like, okay.
I was shocked that she just like gave herself up, and I don't know what her plan is from here because she's never been in real life. So it's not like she knows how the government works, or how the CIA works. It's not like he sat her down and was like, this is how the CIA works. When if you ever get caught, you go to this room and you like break into the camera room and blah, all this stuff. It's not like he ever taught her that. He taught her like practical things so that she can blend in real life. But I don't know what her plan is going to be from here because I doubt she's just giving herself up to get caught. Like she obviously knows the plan and she is very smart. Like when she escaped into the woods to go past the like red markings on the trees, she like walked backwards so it looked like her feet were going the other way and like jumped from tree to tree so her snow tracks wouldn't be caught. Like she's smart. So I know she's got something up her sleeve, but I don't know what it could be. So she's literally in the helicopter like riding away with these people. Like there's no way out at this point. She's going to have to figure something out when she gets to wherever the frick they're taking her. So I thought that was so weird, and I'm like excited to see what happens next. I know I already watched the series, but like I kind of want to like know what happens in the first season again because I only remember the second season at this point. One thing that I did like about this show is that they look like they live in the woods. Like her hair is nasty, like their nails are nasty, they look dirty, like they don't have nice clothes, like they look like they've been there for a while. So I liked that touch of it because that's not usually how it goes. Like I literally just we're gonna watch it, but I watched part of the new season of Outer Banks and it looks like they've recently showered and they definitely shouldn't have. Like the hair looks beautiful. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I would agree that there are definitely things in this show that are like, yes, that's so realistic. Um, and that was one of those things where I noticed like, and the cave could have been done so poorly where it looked too good or whatever. But the way they eat and stuff too, Arvo makes a point of that when she's eating this Snickers bar that he's like, you eat like an animal. And I mean, she does, she's like going like that because how else do you know how to eat? I mean, I guess her dad could have taught her manners or something, but
That's not gonna
uh
help you survive in the woods. Like that, like who cares about manners, right?
yeah. And I think it's fitting that they're both slim and muscular because of what they're eating. Like they're not going to be having those processed foods and whatever. They are eating lean meats basically because you're out in the forest and that's all that you can get. And then if you're training like you're training, you're going to put on muscle and just have a lean body. And when you're out in the woods like that, you will be able to hear better because of your surroundings. And Hannah even says when the whoever those people are that are coming after them, the guards, I don't know what their specific names are, but she says, I can feel them. There's more of them. I can feel them around us. And I truly believe that you would, if you grew up in the woods and you know the woods, you would be able to sense the presence of all those people. Like you just would. And I liked that touch. And I will say it again, even though I've said it 2 to 3 times already. I really liked the story. I really truly think that the story is good. I just thought that some of the acting could have been better. And maybe I have to watch episode 2 and see if my mind gets changed. Because I guess sometimes that happens, a new character could be weird. I just felt like it was inauthentic.
When Eric Heller said that, so Hannah asks, why are you training me all this way if we're gonna live here forever? Because he like says, yeah, we're gonna live here forever. And he goes, well, one day I'm not gonna be here, but that's a long way away. When he said that, did you definitely think he was gonna die in this episode?
No.
It felt like foreshadowing to me. I was like, he's definitely gonna die and she's gonna be all on her own and have to like make it, because he's like, that's a long way away. Bitch, you're dying.
I honestly thought that he was gonna just like keep training her and then be like, happy 16th birthday, and then he was just gonna ditch her. See what happens.
Oh my god.
That's where my mind went.
Dang, I did not think that at all. Oh, so here is an interesting thing too. So she gets her period for the first time while she's like, she doesn't like tell him about it. So I don't know if I would have thought I was dying. Honestly, if I didn't know what a period was, like I would have thought I was dying. But she like notices it and does weird things. Like she sniffs it and like licks her hand. It's
I
really
thought she was trying to finger herself. I
At first
didn't
I did
quite
too.
understand.
But so she gets her period and it's like shocking. And I thought that was a good way to show like she's kind of going through puberty, like she's a teenager, all these things, because she then starts like questioning her father, not because she got her period, obviously, but like she starts questioning her father and like questioning where they're at. Why do I have to tell you everything, but you don't have to tell me anything? Like the teen angst is still there, even if you're secluded in the woods and never read or watch a movie or book about teen angst. Like it's just like teenagers go through these phases of like questioning authority and like wanting to know what's out there or like moving away from home. Like these are all normal things that like normal every teenager will feel. And I really liked that touch of like she's growing up, so like she's going through like the next phase of her life and stuff like that. Like she is going to be questioning her father now and things like that. So I thought that was an interesting way to show it. And they didn't really touch about it. It wasn't gross. It wasn't sexualized. Like it was a little gross because she like licked her hand, but like it wasn't shown as like periods are disgusting. Like, oh, you're a woman now. Like they didn't make a deal about it. It was just basically there to show you she's growing up. She's going through puberty.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe the reason that she wasn't thinking that she was dying is obviously being out in the woods. There's got to be some sort of animal that has puberty, or the dad obviously talks about something. Like she's smart, she knows to some extent, and I'm sure there's probably some animal in the woods that has a period, right? I don't know.
A lot of like cats and dogs go through heat. I don't know if other animals do. So like maybe she's learned about it through that, but I don't know. He's probably because he hasn't really taught her about sex or anything yet, because when she says that boy wanted to touch me, like she didn't really know much about it. He's like, oh, that's just, it doesn't mean anything. He's just like being a boy, which I'm like, gross. But it seems like, I mean, she hasn't gotten any of this talk, but probably because she's literally never, if he can help it, going to be around another human being. So like, why would she need to know about sex, you know?
The CIA agent, I feel like how that went down though. I know we already talked about it a little bit, but it was weird. So this mom and presumably her husband and child are at this park, and then the kid says like, "Daddy, push me," or something, and so he goes over and pushes the child, and then she goes over to this other bench where this guy had been looking. I mean, quite honestly, that guy was giving a creepy look at her. Okay, it was like, ew. But she goes over there, and then he hands her a thing with like a secret file in it, and then that's when he tells her like, oh, there was a girl that was found in the woods with the police and the satellite and blah 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 blah.
I just have to know, like, did the dad not see him approach her? Like, they didn't go anywhere else. Like, he's literally sitting next to her. The file's in a newspaper, but then she like takes the file out of the newspaper and is like holding it out. I'm like, subtlety is key, people. If you didn't care, you obviously would have just been like, excuse me, Marissa Viegler, can I borrow you for a second? And like go through it. And I'm like, this is stupid. You're literally in broad daylight. The dad can see you from anywhere in the park. Like, whatever.
Yeah, that was interesting. And yeah, I want to know why it wasn't more, like, why didn't he show up at their house or something, you know? I don't know.
Like, if
It
he
just seems
must
like it
know if
was.
she's going to be alone at some point. He must know if she's going to be alone. The CIA knows everything.
Yeah, but then it makes me question if he knew she was going to be alone at her office, is it something that like can't be talked about in the office? Like, is this a hush hush project of hers or something? I don't know. Still seems kind of fishy.
Yeah, because she did say, like, this girl doesn't exist, you know, take her in and kill the man on site and stuff. Like, she's giving orders. So it sounds like she's part of like a secret thing, maybe outside of her work, or obviously her family doesn't know about it, duh. But like, it seems like it's something that because remember they said it is something like, is this one place still open? And they're like, unofficially yes. So it sounds like that made me question, like, oh, was it closed at some point and they've like occupied it for this secret thing? Like, what's going on?
And is that place the place where the baby was stolen from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's very interesting. Okay, you are someone who likes music in shows and movies and stuff. Did you like that little weird like lullaby song? I don't know. It's like there's a sleep song, and it's plays throughout like the whole show. I'm obsessed with it.
Honestly, I don't think I ever heard it. It never registered in my brain.
Oh my gosh, because I'm definitely not gonna sing it.
Because
So
I feel like this is a show that is kind of silent or quiet. To me, I didn't feel like
yeah.
there was a lot of background music happening, at least not that I noticed. So if there was, I guess props to you because it blended into the background, which is good. But yeah, nothing stood out to me.
Okay, so this was the song that was like huge in this show. It plays like all the time. So I'm just gonna play a second of it just so like the people know what song I'm talking about, because I can't sing. Do not sleep, my starling, sleep, my doe. She is wrapped in curtains laid in snow. She will bury you inside her fur. Do not sleep, she waits for you to sleep. It's called the Anti-Lullaby. If you watched on YouTube, you saw that on the title, but it's like my favorite song. I like love it so much. I'm like obsessed with it. I like listen to it regularly whenever I'm watching the show. I'll like Google it afterward and just be like, this is so good. But it played, and I can't remember at what part in this episode, but it did play in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's from the beginning, because it plays in the current, like at the end of the current season too. So I was shocked. I didn't even realize it played that early.
Sounds like something that's in Hunger Games or something. Like there's some song that Taylor Swift sings. Um,
Safe and Sound.
yeah, that's the one, Safe and Sound.
I love
That's what
that
it
song
sounds like.
too. I must love that feeling of song where it's just like
Yeah,
creepy and like soothing, but also like very dark.
it's kind of twisted, but I'm here for it. So, if you had not already watched the second season, the rest of the first onto the second, would you still have the same opinion after this first episode that you would want to watch more, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think I'd be intrigued as I was obviously the first time. And because they leave you on a cliffhanger, like, what the frick is going to happen next? They leave you at a good point where it does make you want to know the answers. Whether or not it's you wanted enough to watch the next episode, I'm weak. Like, if you leave me on a good cliffhanger, I've got to watch the next one. But it still resonates as like a show that I shouldn't like or I shouldn't be into. It's still that action, like gun violence movie that or show that doesn't just usually resonate well with me.
See, for me, quite honestly, I was feeling like I wished it was based off of a book and there was a book or series that I could read because it felt like it might be more in depth and I might like it better if I was reading it. But it is not, in fact, based off of a book. It is, though, based off of, like I think I said in the recap, but if I didn't, it is based off of a film with the same name, and that film came out in 2011. And if I remember correctly from my research, or I guess there's a thing going around about how you shouldn't use the word research because you're not a researcher. The information I gathered, I think that it is a foreign film, though. It was not made in America. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think so. Saoirse Ronan is supposedly in it, and she's Irish, so she probably could have learned another language for it. But this also takes place in Romania or near there or something. And some people speak Romanian, some spoke Polish. Like, there's a lot of languages in this. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was a foreign film because I bet Saoirse Ronan knows at least one other language.
Yeah, I guess it says that it was released in North America in April 2011 and Europe in May 2011. So,
Well, we will not be watching the movie, but if y'all want to watch the movie version of it and let us know how it is compared to the show, go for it because we are intrigued. So you can send us a little email recap if you want of it and see if it's better. If you've seen the show, let us know what you think of it. I've seen it also. Like, I don't care about spoilers, and Hannah doesn't really care about spoilers. So you can let us know, your opinions of the show as well.
but that is honestly all that I have to say about this series. Maybe I will end up watching the second episode. Who knows? As of right now, I think that's a no. We watched it though because my name's Hannah. The show's name is Hannah. And that was that.
Next week, it'll be all about me, baby. But with that, I think we'll run through some social media. You can email us. Like I said, email us your reactions to the movie compared to the show, or if you thought it was just as bad of acting as Hannah did, at youtalkintomepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on the Instagram at youtalkintomepodcast. Follow us on Twitter at youtalkintome11 because we're both number one. Heck yeah. I'm going to delete that part out of that. That was ridiculous. Go on YouTube, watch our videos there, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you always get notified when our beautiful faces are going to grace your screen again. And I think that's it. I went through it really fast, so I feel like I forgot something.
Did you say YouTube?
Yeah, I just did at the very end.
Oh, that one I blacked out for some reason. Hit the little notification bell so you get notified every single time we post. Plus, you can see our gorgeous, lovely faces.
Yeah, you really did black out because I said something about our gorgeous faces on our screen. So
I swear that last
That's so
part you
funny.
said, I don't know what I was hearing, but it was not what you were saying.
Oh, 10 seconds out. Hannah was gone. All
Oh.
right. So thank you. Have a nice rest of your week. And come find us again next Monday when it's all about me, the important one here. All right.
Out from the 24-year-olds, we're gonna be old next week.
Yeah, say goodbye to the old us. Next week, we're not even going to look the same. Just kidding, we recorded
Oh.
this ahead of time and we'll still be 24 recording it. So, boom. See if you can find out what week we're actually 25
Yeah,
when we record.
maybe we'll secretly tell you. I don't know.
We have like a
Maybe
20.
we'll only hold up a sign so only the viewers on YouTube will know.
You never know, people. All right. I'm Rachel.
I'm Hannah.
And this is the You Talking to Me podcast. Pretty sure you started it, but I ended
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely
Bye.
started this. Bye.